Hey, it's John and Adrienne here, and we just wanted to make a really quick video on what exactly are GMOs, these genetically modified organisms. And Adrienne, they're basically invented as a way to protect crops from being damaged by insects and worms and things.
Insects, worms, even drought tolerant on some of them, but mostly it's for herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, all of that kind of stuff.
So they're created in a laboratory by a company called Monsanto, and it's basically when they splice the genes of vegetable seedlings with poisonous pesticides and herbicides, namely Roundup, which Monsanto sells.
Yeah, some of the crops, for example, a vegetable crop can be called Roundup Ready, which means that they can spray Roundup on it, which is the worst pesticide or herbicide out there, and they can dump it all over the crop, but it won't kill the plant. The plant is immune to Roundup, so they can put as much Roundup as they want on it, and it won't kill the plant, but it will kill everything around it.
So they've altered the genes of the plants themselves so they won't be killed by this like deadly toxin in the Roundup, which is called glyphosate, and then it wipes everything else out except for the plants.
Yep, exactly.
But then the Roundup goes right into the soil.
The Roundup gets, it's not only on the surface of the plant, but it gets absorbed into the soil, and then the plant sucks it up through there, like when it rains. It's called systemic, and it goes up and through the plant.
And if we take a look at, if you take some lettuce leaves and put them in food coloring overnight, you'll see that the leaves of the lettuce actually turn that color. So they're actually wicking up all of this, whatever's in the water. So if there's deadly poison in the soil, in the water, in the soil, then the plant's going to just, it's actually going to become part of the plant and be stored inside the plant.
Which shows that you can wash and wash and wash these vegetables, but you're still going to be eating the herbicide.
Yeah, because it's inside the plant, which is, it's kind of scary.
It's really scary.
And they rolled this out, and they've been doing this for how long?
I believe it was 96, 94, 96 is when the first GMO crops appeared.
So this has been going on for over a decade, and these foods are not labeled. They refuse to label them, and there's been very little testing. Originally, Monsanto did their own testing to give to the FDA the results of their tests, which they said it was perfectly safe. But now we're seeing tests coming out from independent labs that show a little different results, like these tests on lab rats. And these are third generation, I believe. So the first generation had a completely GMO diet, and by the third generation we see these giant tumors, and they have hair growing on their tongues. And the reason why they use rats and pigs in these tests is because they most closely resemble what's going to happen to humans. So I guess if we have an all GMO diet, feed it to our kids, our kids, our grandchildren, this is pretty much what we can expect to see: giant tumors, cancer, and hair growing on their tongues, and they're completely sterile. So basically the GMOs are created within the seeds of whatever crops they want to make Roundup resistant, and they splice it right into the genes, and they're splicing DNA from completely unrelated species of plants and insects into those seeds. And what are the most common crops that have this in them that are GMO? It's soy, corn,
Beets, cotton, alfalfa, canola, squash, and papaya are the top ones that are on the market. So anything that has soy in it, I wouldn't eat it, or corn, which includes corn oil, corn starch, all of that, and sugar, which is the beets. So don't eat anything with just sugar in it. Use the cane sugar, because that's not GMO.
and they refuse to label anything that contains GMO because they know people probably wouldn't buy it if it was labeled that way. And it's just incredibly pervasive and really difficult to avoid buying GMO food because we just don't know, and you have to do a lot of research just to know where it is in these foods when you go shopping. So it's difficult.
It is a little tricky. I mean, I just go to the local grocery store, Stop and Shop, and I buy what I can organic. I'm not going to drive myself crazy looking for certain things, but I do make the choice whether or not to buy it if it's not organic. But if it says organic, you're in the clear.
So basically, you'd have to look for that organic, that USDA organic label, and if it doesn't have it, you're eating weed killer.
Probably. You just really have to read the ingredients on it. If you look on the back and it says anything with corn or soy or sugar, and it doesn't say organic, it's more than likely GMO.
Well, there you go, and we'll have a lot more information on how to avoid buying these products, knowing what products these GMOs are in, which is almost everything, and how to avoid it, what to look for when you go shopping, just to make it easier. But it is still very difficult, even when you do know.